Today is Wednesday, December the 22nd, and today I have the distinct honor and privilege of bringing the Christmas message for the Rotary Club of Nacogdoches, a club of which I am a proud member. So I've prepared just a brief message for that august group that focuses on Christmas, but also on the simplicity of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the essence of the Christian faith. And so I wanted to share this with you because I want to add to your Christmas celebration, but I also want to help people who might be confused about the gospel, the most important thing in the world. I want to help those people this Christmas know for certain what the truth is and how they can have a right relationship with God. So I hope this is an encouragement to you. Here's the message. Everyone loves Christmas. We enjoy spending time with our family and our friends. We enjoy a little bit slower pace of life for a while. We enjoy giving and receiving Christmas gifts. You add a little food and some football, and nobody can be against Christmas. But Christmas, at least the celebration of Christmas, has changed much through the years. Christmas is a lot less today about Christ and much more about the muss, Christmas. Now, I know that the MAS is not Spanish on the end of that word, but it does remind me of the Taco Bell catchphrase, live más, live more. And I just realized Christmas is less about Christ and more about the más. Now, that's just the world that we live in. Honestly, I'm not a big bah humbug person about that. I do believe that we should have fun at Christmas, and I try to do that. My family, we have already watched all 3 Santa Claus movies this season. And I'll fight you if you don't believe that Santa Claus 2 is the best of the 3. I mean, I'm into that. And while I may have to turn in my pastor card after I say this, I could probably quote more lines from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, the TV version, than I can quote from the book of Isaiah. I do wish Christmas were more about Christ, but I'm not the kind of person who is going to be offended if somebody stops me on the street and says, Happy Holidays. In fact, I think the secular focus on Christmas sometimes allows us to share the gospel with people that we wouldn't be able to share the gospel with otherwise. Take this Rotary message just as an example. So the Rotary Club has invited me to come and share a Christmas message from the Bible, to share about the gospel of Jesus Christ. This is not the first time they've asked me to do this, and I'm not the only pastor who's been asked to come and share a gospel message. The Rotary Club embraces that. They love that. But the Rotary Club is not going to invite somebody to come and share the gospel on the Wednesday before Pentecost Sunday. I mean, that's not what the Rotary Club is about. So the fact that this holiday involves everybody has given us this opportunity to share the gospel. And then I think about our Christmas Eve services. So in just a couple of days, we'll pack out all of the churches around Nacogdoches, multiple services, celebrating Christ in a Christmas Eve service. And there's no way we could have services like that on the eve of the celebration of Christ's baptism. The community just wouldn't be interested in that. And so this Americanized, secularized version of Christianity, not of Christianity, but of Christmas, that we have invented, I believe allows faithful churches to share the gospel with more people than they could otherwise. But what I want us to see here is just how much our celebration of Christmas has changed. I want us to see that it's not really focused on Christ, and you know that already, but I want you to see that. We can say Jesus is the reason for the season all we want, but I think our choices of how we celebrate say much about the truth of our heart when it comes to Christmas. So I want to help you see that a couple of ways. Let's start with Christmas movies. Now, I'm not fussing at you. I'm going to have a very different point at the end of this talk. So let's just have some fun with this. What are your favorite Christmas movies? If you just had to list your top three, 1, 2, 3, what are your favorite Christmas movies? I want to see if I can guess what's on your list. Now, your list probably has more to do with when you grew up than anything else. In fact, if you grew up in a day that when you went to purchase a television set, you had to decide whether you were going to buy a black and white TV or a color TV, then I promise you on your list you have It's a Wonderful Life, 1946, and Miracle on 34th Street, 1947. Am I right? Now, if you, like me, can't really remember black and white televisions, you'll have a different list. I searched online and I found a website that purported to list the 80 best Christmas movies ever. And let me share some of these with you, and you see if these are on your list. Number 1, according to them, Elf. That probably doesn't surprise anybody. Very, very popular Christmas movie. Number 2, according to them, Home Alone. Home Alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know how many there are. Home Alone. Next on the list was a movie I hadn't heard of, Love Actually. But it must be a pretty popular movie. Next, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, The Santa Claus that I mentioned earlier, 1, 2, 3. Number 66, Anna and the Apocalypse. Now, I haven't seen this one either, but the poster, the movie poster, shows a bloodied woman holding a giant candy cane. So you know it's a good movie. And then number 71, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I have no idea how that's a Christmas movie. I also Googled the worst Christmas movies ever, because I know some people have a little more twisted view of life, so maybe some of these are on your list. Number 1, the absolute worst Christmas movie ever, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2. Number 8 on that list, Santa Claus, and it's spelled C-L-A-W-S. And then I thought number 10 was interesting, Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman. Now, I want you to see that all the movies I've mentioned and all the movies on your list, if you have some different ones, I'm certain this is true, all the movies we've thought about in the last few minutes have one common denominator. Do you know what that is? There's one thing that's common to all of our favorite Christmas movies. Here's what it is. None of them are about Christ, right? Not a single movie I just mentioned is about Christ, and I believe that there's not a movie on your list. There may be an exception or two, but your movies aren't about Christ either. And the truth is our entertainment choices do say something about our heart. Our movies say that Christmas is not about Christ. Now, let's set that aside for a moment. We'll come back to it, and let's focus on music, songs. We love to sing songs of the babe in the manger, right? But I searched to see what are the most popular, the most listened to Christmas songs, and I found one website by the American Society of Composers, Authors, and Publishers, ASCAP. You likely have heard of that. And they listed the top 25 Christmas songs, the most popular ones. And there was only one that was even remotely connected to a Christian understanding of Christmas. It was number 17, Do You Hear What I Hear? And the answer to that question is no, I don't. That is not a Christian Christmas song. There's no Jesus, there's no incarnation, there's no gospel. But that's as close as any song gets on the entire list. Now, I want us just to be honest for a moment. We've created an almost completely secular holiday, and we've called it Christmas. Some people, historians have suggested that early Christians who wanted to celebrate the incarnation of Christ laid that celebration on top of an already existing pagan celebration. They suggest that's why we have Christmas trees and other Christmas decorations. And that may very well be true. I'm not an expert on that. But Christians of old, with a desire to celebrate the incarnation, may have taken that celebration and just placed it right on top of some pagan celebration that already existed. Now, whether that's true or not, I know that this is true. The opposite is happening today. We have taken a secular celebration and we have laid it on top of the Christian celebration of the incarnation of Christ. We have taken a completely secular holiday and we have just laid it upon the Christian Christmas holiday. The Christmas story today, what is the Christmas story today? How does it begin? 'Twas the night before Christmas, right? Every kid in Nacogdoches has known how many days till Christmas for the last several weeks. Now, that great anticipation that those kids have had has had little or nothing to do with the incarnation of Christ. And they learned that from somebody, right? They learned that from me and from you. Now, I'm not trying to condemn your Christmas movies or your Christmas songs. I like all the same movies and all the same songs. Now, I do wish that Christmas was more focused on Christ. And with my family, we very imperfectly strive to make that true. But I think at the same time, there's nothing wrong with having fun or even pretending at Christmas. Santa still fills stockings at my house. But what I want you to see here is that this annual holiday is a completely contrived, and I don't mean to be overly negative. Hang with me a minute. It's a completely contrived, constructed, invented celebration. Now, we could spend the next hour talking about whether that's a terrible thing or not. I'll let you decide. The truth is, most of our heroes of the faith never celebrated Christmas. And so I don't know that it's an issue that anybody needs to get mad about one way or the other. But here's a truth that we can see that I think is vital. I want us to see what has unquestionably happened with Christmas as an allegory of what has happened with the Christian faith. I fear that just as we have constructed a Christmas celebration that has nothing or very little to do with the incarnation, so we have invented a Christianity that has very little to do with the gospel of Jesus Christ. We've created a Christianity that is more about steps for a happier life, or more about strategies for a better marriage, or for more responsible children, or pathways for less stress and more peace, or rules for right living, or a way to deal with fear or anxiety, or a tool that we can use to shout out our political points of view. And just as the people of old might have a very difficult time recognizing our Christmas celebration as having anything to do with the incarnation, I'm afraid those same people might have a very difficult time recognizing our modern Christian faith as really having anything to do with the gospel of Jesus Christ. I believe that many people have rejected the Christian faith, but they have rejected a false Christian faith. What they've rejected is not the truth. They have rejected something, but they don't know the truth. They've not rejected the gospel because they don't know the gospel. And I think along with that, some people have embraced the Christian faith when in fact they have not embraced the Christian faith because what they've embraced is not the true Christian faith. I think one way of saying it is that we have a twofold problem. Many who reject Christianity haven't really seen Christianity, and they're rejecting something different than gospel Christianity. And many people who do not think that they are rejecting Christianity are in fact rejecting Christianity because they don't know what the truth is, and they don't know what in fact they have rejected. So what I thought I would do, and I'm going to be very brief here, I want to give you a 3-verse snapshot of the essence of Christianity. We've built all of these things around it at my church and every other church as we try to serve people and serve our community, and much of that is very good. But I want to give you just a 3-verse snapshot of the essence of Christianity. And this is all good news, and it'll be brief because it's simple. It's a very simple message, but I think it's important. So the first verse, 1 Timothy 1:15, which says, "This saying is trustworthy and deserving of full acceptance. Christ Jesus came into the world to save sinners." I don't know if you realize, but Christ did not come to be a great teacher. Now, he was a great teacher, the greatest teacher, but he didn't come to be a teacher. Christ didn't come to the earth to be a miracle worker. Now, he certainly performed many great miracles, but that was not his purpose. Jesus didn't come to inspire people to live better lives. Now, many have been inspired by Christ, but that's not why he came. This verse reminds us that Jesus Christ came to save sinners. That was his purpose. And when Jesus was born in the flesh and laid in a manger, the purpose for his coming was to save us. To save us from what? To save us from our sin that separates us from God for eternity, separates us from God. And so we needed to be rescued, and Jesus Christ came to rescue us. That's what Christmas is about. Now, let's go to the second verse. So Jesus came to save sinners. How does he do that? 2 Corinthians 5:21 says, "He made the one who did not know sin." Now, he is God. God made the one who did not know sin. That's Jesus. He made him, according to this verse, to be sin for us, that in him we might become the righteousness of God. So Jesus came to save sinners. How? Jesus knew no sin. He was righteous. He had a right standing with God. But he did this. He gave us his right standing with God. He gave us his righteousness. And he took our sin. And he died on the cross and paid the penalty for our sin. I have a right standing with God today, not because I haven't sinned, not because I have stopped sinning, but because there's been an exchange. Jesus has given me his right standing with God, and I have given him my sin, and he has paid for my sin. Now that brings me to the third verse, really a passage, a few verses. Matthew 11, verses 28 through 30. These are the words of Christ. Listen, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke and learn from me, because I am lowly and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Jesus says, "Come to me. Come to me, all who are burdened. Come to me, all who are stressed or fearful or guilty." Jesus came to save sinners. He did that by dying on the cross, taking our sin, giving us his right relationship with the Father. How do we make that ours? We come to him and we trust what he has done for us. He says, if we do that, I will give you rest. He says, take my yoke upon you. That means that I both trust him and what he's done for me, but I also surrender to him as my Lord, and I follow him. I take his yoke upon me. But he says the good news is my yoke is easy and my burden is light, and through that yoke you will find rest. To follow Christ is not to get off one hamster wheel and onto another. To take his yoke upon us is to find rest for our souls, the love and the acceptance of Christ, and the joy that comes from living for His glory. This Christmas, I hope your celebration is a celebration of the incarnation of Jesus. And more than that, though, I hope that this Christmas that you understand the essence of the true gospel, and that if you have not come to Him, if you have not found rest for your souls, that you will find it this Christmas season. Thank you.